and I'm sad. um, so let's like fast forward a bit. So like from cavemen to, let's say, they find, tools start to come more prominent, and they start making more like boats and stuff like that. And I know like when people used to map out stuff, they would on like old like maps, like charting out the sea course and stuff, they would draw like monsters in certain places, just for uncharted water and stuff, because they always assumed that there was like sea monsters out there. But like,
yeah, there was a reason it was uncharted.
Yeah, there was like, but there's also like accounts, there's tales and stuff of like giant monsters ripping up boats and stuff like that from like 1700s and so on. But do you guys think there was ever like, because I mean, like, creatures go extinct, and I mean, recording stuff like that wasn't so prominent back then as it is today, like, i.e. like writing it down, because I mean,
yeah, like, let me whip out my phone, bro, the Kraken's attacking us.
Right, like, so do you guys think like there were like actual attacks from like these huge like ancient creatures like that? Because that's like where I want to kind of like get to, is like there was like dinosaurs per se, because sure, like, if a meteor did wipe out a lot of the dinosaurs from the Cretaceous period,
about 70%, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, that's mostly probably land, right? How much of that was like affected in water too?
But I mean,
I don't know. I feel like the water would be a better barrier.
Yeah, but it was.
I mean, the water would get affected, but it would be the deep sea ones that would be more protected than anything.
Yeah, it would be filled with
the lower you are,
toxic chemicals for the animals to like sustain it. Like, it'd be like different levels of chemicals in it they're not used to. It would kill them off.
I like to think that like certain types of species survived long before long after the meteor hit, and like plesiosaurs and shit like that.
No, I believe it. Like, not just dinosaurs either. I think like the other ones too. Like, you could even say the Kraken. Like, I mean, what was it? We only like just proved that the giant squid was a thing within like the past like what 20 years,
it's a recent
20 years or something.
Yeah, it's a recent species. They exist, but it's super hard to find them. But
yeah,
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it just makes sense like that.
I was about to say like, considering like theoretically the Kraken was a giant squid, but I think the people who wrote that story took it to the extreme because they didn't know what it was.
I think definitely. I mean, I think that's the story with down here in Florida with manatees, was that people believe that what people called or thought were mermaids were actually just manatees, because
if
you see them from like way down in the water, they don't they look weird.
Yeah,
they look like someone, like a fat person
with a tail
floating through. Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, well, at least they thought, like, when the conquistadors and stuff came down here, they originally thought that it was because of manatees and stuff, which I probably won't say that like mermaids are. I don't believe in mermaids. Yes or no, but I think, I mean, I definitely think there's creatures, the dinosaurs, most definitely. There's some that have survived, and I just think other weird ones too, that like shit that you would see in like an alien movie, like some really weird stuff.
I mean, like, they were decreasing in size because the oxygen levels changed tremendously when that meteor hit. It dropped down.
They totally would. And do you think, but that is also like, I don't know, I probably don't know enough about it or the research of it to be like, well, who's to say that the giant squid wasn't bigger 100 years ago, 200 years ago, and then it just recently sort of
smaller.
Yeah. Well, anything that's like probably survived is like went really far down.
Yeah, I mean, they did.
Yeah, I mean, like, deep sea creatures. Like 1,200 years ago, like when there were sailors and stuff, I'm sure they did probably. I like to believe anyway they probably did have it in run-ins with these, like, which I mean, like a kraken, which would just be a giant squid but a giant squid, like from the like crustacean period, is like this massive creature.
It's fascinating looking at those old like 1500s and all that stuff. The art of these monsters they put in the waters and stuff. Like,
I honestly low key think, especially on those maps, that those could have just been doodles.
That's a good
on the map.
They just bored on the ship and just drew something,
and they're just drawing.
That's deep.
Like,
that's crazy to think of.
Oh, we got another 100 miles to the next coast. It's like, okay, well, I guess I have a break, and you just kind of sit there and doodle
and make like
in the open ocean, which is like a blank space on the map.
Yeah,
but I don't know. It could have been.
That's a good theory too. Like, and we just took it to the extreme and just like thought like legit creatures.
Yeah, and then it could have just been like incidental stuff, like a whale just happened to be like breaching. Yeah. At the moment they just happen to be passing, and they consider it an attack, or they just got bitten by something. But it just happened to be just a whale that just popped up, hit their boat, and then either they sink or they don't.
I mean, like with the Kraken thing, it's like we just say this. It's like a modern day giant squid. It would be bizarre for that thing to attack a ship. To my knowledge, at least.
Yeah, like in Pirates of the Caribbean, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't understand why it would.
Yeah.
I guess there have been instances. I have seen images of, I wouldn't say it was it a giant squid, but I remember before they discovered the giant squid or something, there were some whales that people were finding, like either washed up or out in the ocean, and they had bite marks on them.
Yeah.
And then people were speculating, like, what the fuck, is obviously something's trying to eat the whale.
Yeah.
And then people assumed that it was the giant squid once they found it, because they were like, oh, well, it's the suction cups.
I was about to say, it wasn't the suction cups.
Whatever. Yeah, and it damn well could be, but it could be something else.
I mean, that's the thing. We don't technically really know, because it's like the ocean. We don't know much of the ocean, apparently. That's so bizarre and scary to me.
We know more about, like the moon and shit than we do our own oceans.
Freaking oceans. And we live here, so it's like anything could literally be down there.
That's what I'm saying. Like there could be like a giant like,
a kaiju.
See, I think like
I mean, really though,
down on the beneath like the bottom, because I mean we do have these weird sounds.
Yeah, the little blurps. I've heard those.
Yeah, like the bloop and
the big bloop where it's like. I remember seeing, I think, the image for it. They did artist renditions of like what the creature would actually, like the size that it would be in order for it to like create that sound. And it was like 5 times the size of a blue whale, which is the largest creature on Earth.
Yeah.
As we know right now.
And then I remember there was a picture from NASA. They had taken I think it was in the Arctic. And it was like the size of the Empire State Building.
The creature?
And it's like they ruled out that it was like a creature, because they're like, there's no way there's something that big. Like they were just saying like it has to be something else. There's no way there's something that large.
Yeah, dude, you're fucking.
If that was gonna be like if I had imagined there was a giant creature from the crustacean period that was still living to this day, I would imagine it would probably be in the coldest spot it possibly could. If it came from the bottom of the sea, it probably lived like lurks on the probably the coldest temperatures it probably could get. So I would imagine it would probably be in the Arctic.
That'd be something like that would probably change like geology and all that stuff. If you find like a prehistoric creature like. That'd be fascinating to learn.
Because I mean, if they hear a weird sound around in the Arctic, they just think it's ice caps, like scraping or something. Scraping. But I mean, that'd be perfect for a giant creature to like be.
Yeah, but I also feel like those have a distinct sound though.
A cry.
Like icebergs. And I mean, you could just be like, "Oh yeah, it's an iceberg. Great cover story, bro." But what is it really?
Great cover story.